So we're going to be heading back to the old farmhouse site today from my last video. I hunted there since the last video and I haven't found a whole lot, at least not as much as I did the first time I was there. But I'm going to show you what I found, and then we're going to head off to the barn, which is where the old barn would have been, across the street from the old farmhouse. So here's what I found. Nothing too significant. Probably my most significant find is right here. So I did find another coin. There is my first ever buffalo nickel. This one, you can't make out the date very well on it, but I can tell you it's 1919. So very cool. I found that towards the bottom of the property, like where you enter the property, and right along the side of the driveway. And I concentrated more so down there, thinking maybe there's a coin spill, but I didn't find too much else. And then I found a dog tag. That was pretty cool. This is like a little chain I found. Not sure how old that is. And then an assortment of other things. I'm not sure what these three things are. This is kind of got a little excited when I first dug this up. Thought it was a crotal bell, a real small one at first, but it's not. I think it's modern, but I have no idea what it is. This thing I have absolutely no idea what it is. It's like a ninja star thing. And then this, obviously, as most as you can tell, is a railroad tie. We're probably going to find a lot of these today, because there's a little canal over there by where the old barn is, and it's just littered with them, and it's also right beside a railroad. And then last but not least, I found this little guy. Very small. Probably not going to keep it. Well, actually I think I will. Unfortunately, the back of it broke off, but it's a very small, you can see that's where the shank would have been. It's a very small baby button. May have actually my guess is probably was for a baby, so the family that lived there at one time probably had a small child. And we will be going back to that home site at some time. We're not going to go there today, but I did find remnants of a bottle dump up there, and I found these two shards, put them together, and turns out this is a very old bottle. My guess is from the early 1900s to 1930s, and I know it's old because it's embossed, usually embossed bottles, well, not always, but usually embossed thicker bottles, you can kind of see the thickness there, are generally older. And yeah, this one's pretty old, and my cousin actually found a lot of these. They are actually medicine bottles. So at some point in the future, I'm going to head back there, and he's actually going to be making a probe for me. Him and I are actually going to go privy digging here soon, and you actually use those to find the sites of the privies, because you use it to try and find the softer ground where the privies would have been. And you also use them to find bottles too, because when you insert the privy into the ground, if you hit something glass, you're gonna, apparently, I never used one, but apparently you can feel the bottle. So the weather is actually clearing up really nice. It's supposed to rain later this afternoon. I'm kind of getting a late start because this morning my fiance and I were running around, and she is off at work now. So hopefully I'll get a few hours in at least before it starts to rain. Right now it'd be probably considered late spring into early summer, with the humidity and everything increasing. One of the dangers is ticks. So I actually thought I had one after the last hunt. It turned out to just be a scab. But you can never be too certain, so you have to definitely be careful, especially nowadays that ticks are becoming more frequent, and the diseases that they carry as well are also. So one of the things I invested in, and I recommend you guys invest in some form of it or another, is what's called a tick key. Now you can usually get them off of Amazon. I got this one here from Duluth Trading, and if you look here, you can kind of see the little bottom of it. So how it works is basically you insert the tick into this little opening and then slide up ever so gently, grab the head, and then just pluck it right out. A lot of people use tweezers. I've heard of people using like peppermint oil, because ticks hate peppermint. They're considered an arachnid. Spiders do as well. I hate spiders, so if you ever don't want spiders in your house, spray your home with peppermint. Or maybe eat a lot of peppermints. I don't know, peppermint patties or something. But a lot of people use tweezers, and that's not really recommended. Or put peppermint oil on the tick. It's not really recommended at all, because what it will do is, one, you could either, with the tweezers, you could break the part of the tick off, and any kind of the diseases that it's carrying could just be transferred right into your bloodstream, just like that. And two, if you use peppermint oil, spray your wound or bite with peppermint oil at the site of the tick bite, ticks don't like that, and they basically get a gag reflex from it, and they could vomit any of their intestinal contents right into your bloodstream. And as I just mentioned, ticks carry a lot of diseases, so that's something to be aware of. But highly recommend investing in a tick key. Fortunately, didn't have to use it yet. Hopefully I never have to. But I think this cost maybe like $5 from Duluth Trading, and it's very lightweight, not flexible. Don't want it to be flexible, but very lightweight, durable is the word I was looking for. So I highly recommend you invest in one. So I have this today just in case. Okay, so we're here at the site of the old barn. If you hear that noise in the background, it's because they're flying airplanes. So they're little like hobby airplanes on the property adjacent to here that they fly. So maybe we'll get some footage of that as we move through here. It's pretty cool. But if you look here already, you can see some old foundations. I'll show you what I mean. You got part of the little canal running through here. You can see some old foundation right here, and we're right next to the road. So I think this would be a good place to start, and then we'll kind of make our way over towards that old foundation over there, see what we can find. So we got our first target of the day here, somewhat promising. Solid 46 right there. Let's go ahead and see what it is. Okay, so I dug that target out. It's a piece of an old shotgun shell that decayed over time. So I've been here about an hour, haven't found a whole lot. A lot of iron. It's not as trashy as it was across the street, but the finds I've been finding are pretty minimal stuff, building materials, things of that nature. No old square nails or anything like that, but I did find something interesting I want to show you guys. It's actually a trifecta of 3 interesting things I found. First off, this telephone pole here. See, it's pretty old and decaying. Found like a porcelain part off of it. I was looking for the insulator. It kind of goes up through here. I was digging up here. Sadly, didn't find it. There's my shovel. The other interesting thing is there's a really old tractor over there. We'll go ahead and take a look. And then the third thing is, I think actually over there, it's pretty flat. And I believe that's where the old barn actually stood. So we're going to walk over there. Surprisingly, I haven't been finding a whole lot over here. Anything notable. So we'll walk over here and take a look at this tractor. Okay, we're over here by this old tractor now. Isn't that thing neat? Look how old that is. Weeds are growing all through it. This thing's been here a while. I have no idea how old that is, but that is really neat. There's another neat thing I want to show you guys here. I think I'm getting a little bit warmer. So I found an old brick here, and they don't make the bricks quite this heavy anymore. This thing has a lot of weight to it. But it has the place where it was manufactured right on there. I don't know if you can see it real well, but it says Watsontown, Pennsylvania. And this thing weighs a ton. It's got a lot of weight to it. So back in the day, wherever these bricks would have came from, the maker's mark would have been inscribed into it. But this thing is very heavy. So it's a pretty neat find. Don't know if I'm going to take that or not. I may, if I have time and I remember, and come back for it. Okay, so this is one of the things I was afraid of walking over here. So the what I'd consider to be the older area. You see these giant trees. That one's not so big, but that one's really old. All around here, there's just rocks and debris and building material just strewn everywhere. So it looks like the land's been moved around a lot. Kind of how it was across the street. We had a little bit more luck over there though. This is going to be hard to navigate through here. But we pretty much have to dig everything we come across because it's moved. It could be just resting on the surface. But I just found a bone down here. I don't know what kind of bone that is. But look how it's bleached white from the sun. It's been there a while. I don't think it's human, but it's been there a while. So I just discovered something else interesting right in front of me here. I'll let you guys take a look. So I believe this is where they would pump their water. Still standing there. It's been there for a while. If you look closely, it looks like it says Murdoch or Murdoch, maybe. And then there's some writing down here. I can't quite make out. Murdoch. Yeah, it says the same thing. Okay, so it says Murdoch. So this is where they would have pumped their water. Still not really finding a whole lot, guys. It's very overgrown, and over there the ground was moved around a lot. I'm going to check more over here behind where I was looking. It's not quite as overgrown, and hopefully we'll find something. Otherwise we're going to call it quits, calling an early hunt, and maybe we'll check up there, see if we can maybe find a few bottles before we leave. So I decided to walk down towards the little stream that's over here, if it's even there anymore. I think it's more present over that way than anything else, but I'm not going to be able to get to it from this way. I'm just going to have to follow out along the tree line here. And I looked over here, I saw this like weird star shape, and I looked down, and I think it's an old lamp. Pretty neat. I'm not going to take it with me. Look, there's a spider. There's a spider right there. And a bunch of ant larvae. It's kind of gross, but kind of cool at the same time. So, just wanted to show you guys that. So I was over here digging and just detecting along, and I heard a car pull in to the driveway across the street. And I looked over, and it was the police. So, that kind of frightened me for a little bit, even though I had permission to be here. Officer was very nice, very cool guy. Basically just checking up and seeing why a car was up there. Obviously it's an abandoned place, so it's not very often that you see cars up there. So he's just checking in, and I showed him my basically my business card from the landowner saying that I have permission to be here. So that kind of threw me for a scare, but you know, a lot of times police get a bad reputation, but he was totally cool, asking if I found anything neat and things like that. So we were chatting for a while, and I was just telling him the history of this place. So that was pretty cool. I just found something else down here too. I want to show you guys something kind of cool. I haven't been finding a whole lot. I'm probably going to head out here soon, but I want to show you this thing I found right here. So a good old American pastime. Found a baseball, and that's in pretty good condition. Yeah, it's cracking a little. That's pretty cool. So I'll probably save that, take that out of here. So something else interesting here, the water from that canal kind of leads down through here, and then it comes down this way, and then it just stops. And there's a little like sunken hole here. So I almost wonder if that was a spring at one time, but I'm not getting any hits from the detector, or I should say I'm not getting any good hits. It's all like aluminum cans and that sort of stuff. So I think I see something down in here. Though I just want to make sure it's not a piece of old building material. Ah, look at that. It is. I find a lot of these in the water from time to time. Actually, it's not a piece of building material, but rather a piece of crock. So that's actually, believe it or not, the first one I've found. When you find them in the water like that, though, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. But I will slow down and look around here a little bit longer for sure. So I've been detecting down here, and I've been seeing a lot of deer tracks, if you can see those. So the deer will get thirsty and come down here and get a drink from the stream down here. So looking around to see if I could find anything next to that old piece of crock, but not really much of anything. This place is like an aluminum can graveyard. So what I'm thinking probably happened is that piece of crock could have came from anywhere, following the stream, and probably just with the natural current during a storm just washed down here and deposited itself. But it's still pretty cool. My first piece of crock of the day. That might be what I'll do next, is just kind of follow the stream up a little and see where it leads us. I'm almost thinking there was a dump here at one time too, because I did find one old bottle. It was broken though. It wasn't very interesting. That's why I didn't get it on film. It was just a green bottle. Probably not that old actually. But I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to head upstream and let's see if we can find anything else. We still have to get that brick too. So I got another hit with the detector, and I unearthed more garbage, but that's not what I wanted to show you guys. That's not interesting. Right here. So I was digging this hole and came across some more old ceramic. So that's kind of interesting because it's nowhere near water. But here's why I think that it actually is. You're probably thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense there, Jack. Well, actually it does, because so there's a water down there, and you look closely here. I act like I know what I'm talking about, but I really don't. But here's my theory. If you look closely, you can kind of see it's not as overgrown here. So I'm thinking at one time there was water. If you look over there, there was water that flowed down through here. So again, this could be from potentially anywhere. I'm getting really pretty good at identifying this kind of stuff. So I'm thinking the stream over here, because there is water over here, it's just overgrown, I can't get to it. I think it branched off and just kind of flowed down here, and this kind of just deposited, and over time mud and whatever else kind of deposited over it. So I just got a hit right here. I gotta get out of here too, not to be ADHD, but storm's rolling in pretty quick. Literally like 15 minutes ago, it was bright blue. I'm not even kidding. But I got a hit right here, and it sounded sweet. And I dug it up, and I'm not sure what that is, but oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. I'm going to be very careful and just gently rub it. We're going to find out together. I'm going to be doing a little bit of rubbing here. I think it's a coin. I really hope it is. Sure looks like it is. Let me rub it a little bit. I'll get back with you. Okay, I'm still working on this coin. I definitely know it's a coin. Sorry I'm screaming, the train's in the background. But it's definitely a coin. If you look right there, you can see the R and the T, Liberty. I'm really trying to clean it up, but being very careful not to scratch it. I think it's pretty worn, so I'm hoping we can identify what it is. It's got some weight to it. I wanted to say it was a large cent, but I don't think it is. But I could be wrong. I thought I saw 1 cent here on the back. It's kind of hard to see though. I just hope with the fields over there that the fertilizer didn't ruin it, but the front looks like it's going to come clean pretty good. So we're going to keep at it here. We're probably going to have to leave within the next 5 minutes. The storm's rolling in pretty fast. So if my clothing looks differently, it's because I did not get a chance to continue filming this video in the same day that I made it. So I'm filming the end of this video on a different day right now. So when that storm rolled in, I came back into my garage and I turned my camera back on and it was dead. So I left it charged and then I just got busy. Didn't get a chance to get around to finishing the video. But at any rate, I'm going to give you guys a look at what I got. So I got some interesting things here. A little bit of iron. I'm setting up an electrolysis bath right now. It's gonna get ready to go live here soon, and I'm gonna put some of this iron in here that I found, some that I don't really know what it is or don't necessarily care about. Some of this I may want to keep. This I think is an ox shoe, but I'm not positive. This is like a part of a hoe or something, and of course I found that baseball. Over here, I think these would have been off of the roof of the barn. I think these are like ice cutters, so when it would have snowed, this would have kind of broke up the sheets of ice so they wouldn't come down all in one big hunk. And of course, found a few square nails. Found these close to, well, we're getting there. I want to leave you guys in suspense because it's pretty cool. Of course, I found this brick. Watsontown, Pennsylvania is what it says on it. Interesting story about the brick. So Watsontown is actually pretty geographically close to my mom and dad, and I did a little bit of research, and I discovered that there is a brick plant in Watsontown, Pennsylvania that is still in operation today. So I think next time I'm visiting my mom and dad, I'm going to take this brick with me and see if I can kind of get a date on it, and that should be a little bit of evidence in our determining how old my hunting site just might be. And then this I found close to what I'm going to show you guys after this. It's going to be my coin, but I want to leave you in suspense. So this is kind of like a yeah, like a handle, I think, for a drawer, dresser drawer. Pretty cool. Not sure what it's made out of. Almost looks like brass, maybe. On the inside it says patent pending. You probably can't see that though. So, interesting. Okay, and then last but not least, so I found this coin, and close to where I found it, I was finding some pieces of pottery. So like you can see this here, so that's why I slowed down and stuck around. I'm glad I did, because here is my very first large cent. Now, it's in terrible shape, so you may be wondering why it's all shiny. That's because I took a pencil to it and literally scraped over the details to try and make them stand out more. I know it's a horrible idea, I don't recommend doing that, but this coin was already in toasted shape, terrible shape. I found it next to a field, so I'm assuming fertilizers and everything. There you can make out the 1 cent on the back. So I'm assuming fertilizers just kind of over the years just wore it down, and that's what made it in rough shape. I couldn't even get a date off of it, an accurate date, but I cleaned up the best I possibly could. You can sort of, if you look real closely, make out an 18. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Of course, it's going to be 1800s. That's when these were minted. But I took a magnifier to it, did the best I could. My best guess is around 1845. And the interesting thing about that coin, if you guys remember, I was showing you how I found that in between those 2 patches of weeds, which was probably poison ivy, because I got it all up and down my arms. But it was interesting because I found it kind of almost, it looked like a natural like depression or valley almost, And what I'm thinking happened is in the past, possibly not even that long ago, there was like a little stream at one time that was cutting through there, because nothing's growing there at all. Probably was fairly recently that this happened, and I'm thinking water took it and it just flowed downhill a little and just settled where I ended up finding it. So I'm going back to this site tomorrow, and I'm kind of going to try and find the origin of where that would have flowed out from. So there's a creek right adjacent to the field, next to the woods, in between the woods and the field, and I think I'm going to try and hit that up tomorrow. I didn't hit it up last time I was there because it was extremely muddy, and the mud's just real thick. I was getting tons of hits there, though, right at the edge. All of it junk, cans and stuff. But I think that's a pretty good indicator that a lot of stuff would have settled there. So if there's any old stuff that would have settled there, I'm bound to find it. But I'm going to get my muck boots. That's why I didn't search there, because I didn't have my boots. And then, yeah, hopefully we'll find something good. And I remember showing you guys that old bottle too. So interesting thing that I discovered after this hunt is I did a little bit of more research, and if you go to Google Maps, you can look at the street view and see the buildings in 3D. And there's this doesn't work on mobile devices, but on desktop devices, like your personal computer at home, you can view the street view in the past, like when Street View would have first came out. And I actually discovered the old barn still standing and the old house still standing on the site I'm at right now in 2011. So it wasn't demolished that long ago. I'm going to show you guys in a later video. I'm going to do a video on how to conduct research, because I think it'll be beneficial to you guys. I know I learned from experts. I don't consider myself an expert by any means, but it's still very helpful information. And it was really cool to see that house in the old barn, because that gave me a more visual indicator of where the most foot traffic would have been. And I actually discovered something interesting about this site that I didn't know previously, that I don't know if I'll necessarily check out tomorrow, but on a future hunt, there used to be an old, what looks to be a schoolhouse behind where the house would have sat. So very excited to check that out. It's all overgrown now, and so is where the barn is, so it'll be interesting. I actually had a tick on me the other day, so of course, you know, I jinxed myself showing you guys that tick key, and then I had to use it, but I'm okay and everything. So I got a dose of antibiotics in me, and I'm good to go. But at any rate, that's all, and I'll see you guys next time.